They're going to be doing some interesting things. Interesting.
What's going on, San Antonio? What's going on, South Texas? What's up, Spurs fans? And I guess you Cowboy fans. My name is Mike Jimenez. This is the Alamo City Sportscast coming at you from the west side of San Antonio, West Bexar County, also represented. You know, we love things all silver and black over here. NBA All-Star Weekend was wrapped up last night, so we're going to get into that. Again, my name is Mike Jimenez. Joe Garcia producing today's show. We are exclusive on YouTube right now, but again, later on in the day, you can catch us on all the streaming services, you know, whether it be Spotify or Apple Play or whatever the case may be. You can leave a comment or two. The chat lines are open. We see Chris Gonzalez, Tim Gonzalez, LRM already in the house right now. Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. People already giving me crap about a tall tale that I mentioned yesterday on Twitter. Again, these aren't made up. I just don't have any proof or evidence of most of these. But let's a lot to get into today. The NBA All-Star Weekend wrapped up last night, and it was a joke. The East beat the West 211-186. We'll get into that.
Listen to that score, dude.
211. Dude, end of the first quarter, I tweeted at the end of the first quarter, we're going to see the first 200-point performance, aren't we?
Yeah.
Like, it's going to happen.
How many fouls in the game? Three.
Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, talking about the state of the league, and it was very fascinating what he had to say. So I want to dive into that a bit.
Yeah.
Dunk contest, if we want to get into that, bit of a joke, 3-point shootout. Kenny Smith sticking his foot directly into his mouth.
What a dumbass. Hey, put down the drinks, Kenny.
Yeah, what a piece of crap he was this past weekend.
And
typically I like him. I like him.
Yeah, he was an a-hole, man.
Yeah. Trae Young sitting next to Wemby and also being interviewed about Wemby. It's like the stars are aligning that Trae Young will eventually become a Spur over the offseason.
You know who else was a dick live on TV?
Who's that?
Charles Barkley, man. He just can't keep his foot out of his damn mouth, man.
He and Draymond going at each other a little bit.
I mean, the NBA All-Star game is going to be in Golden State, right?
Yes.
And he's already talking trash. Bro.
Yeah.
Come on.
So we saw Trae Young sit next to Wemby. Tim Duncan. LeBron James mentioned Tim Duncan last night. And if he pulls a Tim Duncan, it'll be the first time in his life he would have ever done that, dude. LeBron James is the most arrogant man in the NBA. And you know what? For a good reason, too. He's one of the greatest of all time. But he mentioned Tim Duncan when talking about his own retirement. So we'll dive into that. We also do pop culture nostalgia here. Last night, or actually yesterday morning, right before church, I watched the Yolanda Saldivar part 1 of the documentary from Oxygen
I didn't
Network.
even want to talk about this documentary out of respect for La Reina, but I know this is something that you want to talk about. I'm not watching it.
I found it interesting. It was better than I thought.
I'm not watching it.
It was better than I thought. What I thought it was going to be, we'll get into it a little bit more later on. I thought it was going to be Yolanda Saldivar taking the mic and just talking for an hour and just over and over and over again. Yolanda Saldivar talking might only be of the first hour and a half long special. The first part's about an hour and a half. She might have talked maybe 2 minutes of it.
Yeah. Your boy Elias, your son.
Sith asking the question, how's Yolanda? By the way, a Swiss with the greatest of the Photoshops last night.
I saw that.
Photoshopping me from when I was 18 years old in 1995 alongside Yolanda Saldivar.
I know how he does it, dude.
Dude, that was a good one. I honestly think that he has like a file on his computer of nothing but my photos
on
there.
Does, man.
Yeah.
But you know what? The guy's quick with it, man. Great work, man. Great work. He's like an artiste.
It's on his desktop. It's called MJ Acquired Taste.
Oh, yeah,
it's on his desktop ready to go.
He hates you the most.
You roast the ones you love the most. But again, last night, let's get into the sports. East beat the West 211-186 in a joke of an all-star game.
Can we just call it an exhibition game?
It's not even an exhibition.
I mean, it's just for entertainment, man.
And it's not entertaining.
That's what they label it as. That's what they always push it out as.
So last night's game, you know it's bad whenever you have the MVP named and the crowd boos.
Oh,
Dame Lillard last night was named the MVP. He had 39 points on 14 of 26 shooting. The hometown guy, Tyrese Halliburton, had 32 points, was 10 of 14 from 3, 11 from 15 from the field, had 7 rebounds and 6 assists. And they were like, nah, you're not a big enough of a name. We're going to give it to Dame Lillard. Halliburton should have been the MVP. The crowd booed, and rightfully so. They should have been booing because this was unwatchable. I didn't watch it. I watched the first half.
It was on the
most of the fourth quarter. There was at no point in the game did I get excited or amped up about it. And it's funny because I used the gif of Kobe Bryant saying soft, because that's what this is. And this kind of dovetails into what Adam Silver had to say about the NBA and the state of the league, because you should not even have an all-star game if they're going to be playing like this. This was not a basketball game. Yeah. And if you want to know who's to blame for this,
Adam Silver.
No, he's not.
He's the commissioner.
This predated him. What is to blame for this is the softness that is the American basketball player.
No.
And we can go back in time, because it wasn't like this 10, 15 years ago. You know what? It kind of was about 10, 15 years ago. It wasn't like this pre-2005.
Yeah.
Pre-2005, you had Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, David Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Pippen. You have all of these guys going out there, and they wanted to beat the crap out of each other.
They didn't like each other.
They didn't like each other, but the problem is that the way that the United States basketball development is right now is that it's all about AAU. It's all about AAU.
Yeah.
And
I get that.
But here's the thing about it. I was talking about this with a friend yesterday. It used to be that when you wanted to develop as a player, you developed as a high schooler and then went to college, and you built on rivalries. And instead, the way that the league is working these days and the way the players are right now is that instead of beating their enemy, they would rather join their enemy, because they have no enemies. 73-9 Golden State Warriors team added Kevin Durant. The NBA should have stopped that. The NBA has done it before where they stop trades. They should have stopped that move right there, because it is stupid, and that just shows the state of the league. When you see LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh join together and they say, well, there was no collusion. Bullshit.
They always talk.
They're friends. They colluded with each other. And right now you're seeing these teams join forces. Kawhi Leonard with Paul George. You're seeing other players out there. Very few teams are homegrown.
KD, for example.
KD.
Yeah.
But you look at the NBA landscape right now. That's why I'm cheering for a Denver. That's why I'm cheering for an Oklahoma City, is because for the most part, they developed their own people, and they did certain trades and certain pickup moves to make it the
right way.
They did it the right way. They didn't collude for it. It wasn't superstars coming together. And these players are weak. And that is why the best players in the NBA right now are not American.
No. And
how far down the list do you have to go before you find one?
You bring up a very good topic, because this is the thing. Adam Silver, the commissioner, he should have some say also in how things are finally delivered out there on the court. This is a joke of a game, the NBA All-Star game. The slam dunk contest, that's becoming a joke as well. Boring, Aside from the court, which looked amazing, by the way, everything else was ho-hum after, the skills challenge. You get to the slam dunk contest, boring, forgettable. Same thing with the NBA All-Star game. But what Adam Silver should do is have it NBA versus the world. Get some of the best players that are out there that might be in a different league. It
might work for a little bit.
I think it would be interesting to see how that dynamic could work. And, let's go ahead and have a very competitive game where it's not going to be necessarily having people get injured by any means, but go out there and have some fun with it. Let's play basketball. I don't know what the hell this is. This is something you see in a video game. No defense, 3 fouls for the whole game. 211 is final score to 186.
Yeah. There's a song by the band The Killers that poses the question, has every song been sung? Has every thought been done? And when it comes to the slam dunk contest, has every dunk possible been dunked? I believe that the exclamation point was Aaron Gordon against Zach LaVine, when they went at it for multiple years.
Yeah.
And they were actually doing things that were tricky, and we had never seen anything like that before. That was the end of it. because there are no superstars playing, because the superstars are soft. Like Kobe would say, soft. We used to see Michael Jordan and Dominique Wilkins go out there. We used to see even the players that were not stars, but they were known for their dunks would go out there. I mean, Tom Chambers or Kenny Skywalker or whatever the case may be, Spud Webb. They were known for dunks. They may not have been stars, but they were known for their dunks. And right now, it's not even an exhibition.
Who did you get in today in this year's NBA dunk contest? Jaylen Brown.
Got Jaylen Brown, and he jumped over a 3-footer,
like
a guy that's like 4 feet tall.
It's the only good dunk contest that I've seen in my lifetime was the one with Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine.
That was great.
That was the best dunk contest that I've ever seen.
It was a throwback
ever.
Charlie Hernandez reaches out to us on our YouTube stream saying All-Star Weekend was trash, embarrassing for the NBA. Sith comes out and says All-Star Weekend was trash. I like he says, I've seen better dunks on TikTok stars.
Yeah,
and
Elias.
But I want to show my screen real fast if you can. This is Adam Silver. It's a comment that he was talking about the state of the league. And Jonathan Givani.
Showing your screen, but you don't have it. I think it's
okay.
I don't know what screen.
It's a different screen.
Is it on one or two?
It's on one. Jonathan Givani from Draft Express.
Oh shit.
Dude, it's like the fourth day in a row you've done that. I'll just go ahead and read it. Let's go back to $2.
There you go.
He says, quote, about Adam Silver, says, quote, my focus is turning to earlier development of those players. Players born outside the United States, it's clear that the development is very different in many of these programs. More of a focus on practice, less of a focus on games, the opposite of many of the youth programs in the United States. We have a common interest in improving the game, developing players. They're coming into the league incredibly skilled, but that doesn't necessarily translate into team basketball. Coaches that may be complaining about inability to play defense is that these players are not prepared as I like them to be, particularly at very high draft picks. There's an opportunity for us to be part of a community that's developing younger players. He said the phrase youth programs. That's AAU for the most part, right? Because the big players in the NBA came from the AAU program.
Yeah.
But the thing about the AAU program, what does it foster? It fosters no competitiveness between players, no rivalry or competition. It fosters the ability to say, I want to play with that guy, that guy, that guy, that guy. Instead of, I want to beat that guy and that guy and that guy, I want to play with them. There's no competitive edge that we would normally see from a LeBron, from a Kobe Bryant or from a Michael Jordan or from whomever, right? A Karl Malone. There's that competitive fire is not there. It's instead of beating the best, it's join the best.
You know, there's something that came out that was interesting over the weekend. The G League Ignite,
Yeah.
Adam Silver had mentioned that he doesn't know what the future of the G League Ignite is going to be because college players now are millionaires. They're getting paid, right? So what's the incentive for them to come over and want to play with a team like the G League Ignite, for example? And I think what Adam Silver is kind of saying in a sense is he might just not only reevaluate the G League Ignite, but the G League as a whole.
Yeah.
What's the incentive to go ahead and keep some of these players in that developmental league? I know I get, hey, you still want to go ahead and develop certain players. It does have some type of developmental value at the end of the day, but these are going to be players that should essentially be with their teams and getting minutes and playing in a real world scenario in the context of an NBA game itself.
But Adam Silver mentioning the point that even the high draft picks don't know how to play defense.
It's
that
true,
even
man,
them that he hasn't seen players come through the draft before without certain skill sets. And you hear the words raw. The Spurs said that about Jeremy Sohan when he was drafted a few years ago. They described him as raw, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why are they raw? Why is a raw player being drafted number 9 overall? Now, I'm not saying that he shouldn't have been drafted number 9, but I'm just saying the idea that somebody's a top draft pick and they're 4 or 5 years away from us actually realizing whether or not they're going to be a player or not. I mean, and then part of it is that we look at like a Tim Duncan, for example, when he came into the league 4 years behind him at Wake Forest. David Robinson played at Navy, had 2 years of military service. They were men coming into the league, right? They were old enough to drink when they came into the league. They weren't 18, 19, 20-year-olds trying to make it onto the NBA, which makes what Victor Wembanyama is doing right now so spectacular, is that he can average 20 and 10, and he just turned 20 back in, January?
Yeah.
So, but when you look at these players, I think part of it is also the NBA's fault, because the NBA made the game soft.
Well, the players did, because the Players Association, they had all this, let's say, back and forth with the league and changing of the rules and doing all these things, where now the power, instead of it being with the actual team itself, it has shifted over to the players.
Well, the players do have the power, and they should have the power.
They do, but I'm saying in respects to how the rule changes have gone into effect. And of course, now the power lies with the player when it comes to, do they want to even stay with the team? They have the power to say, now, I demand a trade, or I'm not going to play because I don't want to be here no more.
But that's kind of been the case for a while. I mean, I remember in the NFL, Eli Manning didn't want to play. John Elway didn't want to play with the team that was going to draft him. Dan Marino didn't either.
More and more now in today's NBA, and it kind of ruins things,
But the player the player empowerment, to me, is a good thing for the most part. I think there's more positives than negatives. But if you look at all the sports in general, because all the sports are struggling when it comes to the All-Star game, whether it be the Pro Bowl in the NFL, MLB,
NFL.
What do all of these leagues want? They want high scoring, right? They juice the ball so that you can actually hit it out of the park. And it's just, they want to increase scoring. They want to have a pitch clock, which I'm okay with, because again, no one wants to go to a 4.5 hour long baseball game, much less watch it.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with the pitch clock, right? But the NFL and the NBA have made defense impossible to do, right? Because you can't touch a player in football, and in basketball, if you breathe on a player, it's a foul. There's no more hand checking, no more defense that you would see from Joe Dumars back in the 80s. No defense that you would see. Now, I would say this, though. 70s and 80s basketball was too rough. I mean, that was street ball.
Clotheslining people.
Clotheslining. That was street ball being played on a gym. And you don't want that, right? That's one polar extreme of defense. But on the other side, you don't want to see what you're seeing yesterday, because what we saw yesterday is symbolic of what we see today. The Spurs, were crying out loud, are giving up over 120 points per game. I remember going to the Hemisphere Arena growing up, and the odds of you scoring 125 points were so low that they would give away 17,000 Big Macs if the Spurs scored 125 points and won the game.
Usually in those days, you're going for like 86, maybe 76, 72.
Maybe 100, right?
You're lucky if you break that century mark.
But even the All-Star games were 125 to 130. And back then we were like, oh, man, I mean, that's a lot of points. But, but whatever.
If you would have showed them the future and said, this is what's going to happen.
Yes.
They would have been like, oh, hell no.
Chris Lehow reaches out and says, it's pussy ball now. That's basically it.
Man.
That's basically it.
If you tweet at a player, it's considered a flagrant too.
They're just soft. And then now, who are the best players in the NBA right now? Best players in the NBA is Jokic, right?
Yeah.
Giannis, Luka. They ain't from the United States.
Look at this. Mario Cavasso says, I was watching Gilbert Arenas' podcast. The dude said Wemby will be the first player to record multiple quadruple doubles. Said the Spurs will have him play for 22 years. Maybe, but are all those 22 years going to be with the Spurs, or are they going to be with somebody else? Because Wemby ain't going to be playing for a losing team.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is a player empowerment.
Oh, God, man. Bring the hip check back. Freaking Robert Horry
to Steve Nash.
He was an enforcer, man.
Into the scoreboard. Amazing. But, you watched last night's game. It was embarrassing. It was just 3-point shots, them shooting from midcourt. Speaking of shooting from midcourt, I believe Steph Curry is one of the reasons why the NBA basketball will be so awful in the next 10 years.
No, God.
Because the Youth Development League, dude, I officiate high school basketball, right?
That's all they do.
Middle school, I will often do as well.
Yeah.
I've even done youth league. Where are they shooting the ball? They're shooting threes. You got these kids who are like 60 pounds trying to chunk up 3-pointers. They can barely hit the rim. They knock down 1 out of 20, and their coach is like, good shot. You're open. Shoot it. No, man. Learn how to shoot off the glass down low. Learn how to make a freaking layup. Learn how to do a bank shot. Learn how to do a little baby hook.
Hey, man, you
Do
had me
something.
at 1 in
Make a
20.
free throw.
1 in 20 from 3. That's what Zach Collins shoots, man.
Part of that, man.
Booty crumbs.
He's
Zach
part of that.
Collins.
But the NBA soft. And it's not fun anymore, dude. I mean, they just get rid of the All-Star game. If they don't want to play, they don't want to play. We live in a life right now where the Pro Bowl's flag football.
Yeah, man. It's rough. You know, the thing with the NBA,
Soft.
NBA All-Star Weekend, you know, I'm looking at the Rising Stars Challenge, you know, and you're seeing, you know, Wemby, you're seeing Jeremy Sohan compete. And to me, that was fun because you had Spurs represented there, right? So watching them being introduced and all that, exciting for Spurs fans here across the world, and especially here in San Antonio. And then you're seeing what happens at the Skills Challenge. Okay, there some people are saying it's boring. They don't like the Skills Challenge. The Skills Challenge to me is the most exciting thing about NBA All-Star Weekend. You know, more exciting than the dunk contest. And that's not saying much, you know. I think the NBA All-Star Weekend as a whole, some of these events here, they need to be updated. Something needs to happen, man. You got to change it. You got to get with the times nowadays. You know, even TikTokers, like I think it was Elias that had said that you see better dunks on TikTok and some of these amateur guys that are out there. The N1 guys, you know, they're doing dunks. And they used to have a show. I think we used to play it on TNT way back in the day, where they had these guys that were just amateur basketball players. And they would come out and do some spectacular dunks, man.
What they need to do is more of this. I don't know if we have if we can show the video of this.
Let's see. Maybe you might need to move it over to the second screen so we can show it. Move it over to that other screen if you can.
That's weird.
Are you putting it on that other screen?
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm moving it on over now.
Let's see, because I'm not seeing anything.
All right, do you see anything?
No, not coming.
Okay,
through.
well, I'm looking at video right now of Sabrina Ionescu doing the 3-point shootout against Steph Curry this past weekend. Ionescu shot 26 points, which would have qualified her, by the way, to make the finals of the men's.
She scored as many points from beyond the arc as Dame Lillard did.
For Kenny Smith to give her shit because of the size of the basketball.
Jeez, what a
First of all, she is shooting the 3-pointers from the NBA 3-point level, right? She's not shooting from the WNBA level, which is about a foot shorter.
Yeah.
And it was harder for her to score 26 than the guys to shoot 29 because think about the repetition that you have as an athlete. You shoot from a certain distance over and over and over again. If they move the free throw line from 15 feet to 16 feet, it would change everything, right? Because people are so used to a certain arc, certain release, a certain everything. And for her to say, hey, I know you've been playing all season long at this distance, we're going to move you back to the men's. And for her to compete, I don't care if the ball's smaller. You know why the ball's smaller? Because women have smaller hands than dudes.
She held her own against Steph, man.
Steph had to make the last 2 shots to win.
She held her own. She went out there and they proved a good point. It didn't matter if you were a male or a female. If you can shoot, you can shoot.
Yeah, none of them made the big shots, like
the money ball,
the 4-pointers.
Yeah,
they're making the money balls. But as Chris mentions on our YouTube stream, she was tired the last 2 racks. Maybe so. Jonathan C was saying that Kenny Smith was going in on her. We were dying of laughter. I expected from Barkley, but not Smith.
Yeah.
When Barkley says it, I think it says it as a joke. Kenny Smith was not joking.
No, he's not joking. He meant what he said.
He was being a dick. He was being a dick because he cannot look at Sabrina Ionescu and respect her enough to say, wow, she's just as good of a 3-point shooter as everybody else. His mind is she's a good 3-point shooter for a girl.
It shows you where his mindset is at.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, you know, the idea of having a multi-sex 3-point shootout might actually work.
You know,
what if we had a female dunk contest where we moved the rim to 8.5 to 9 feet?
I wouldn't be opposed to it. Maybe they put on a better show than the men. I mean, the men have gotten a little lazy nowadays. You know, I mean, there's only so many things you can do. Jumping over a guy. Let me put on my jersey.
Yeah, unless you're gonna jump over Wemby, I don't care, dude. Unless you're gonna be jumping over Wemby,
they got to do something. And then they have props or whatever. They have their boy come out. No, let me hold the ball for you. Something stupid. I mean, like, you got to change it up, man. You got to have, I think what they should do is they should judge not only by creativity of the dunk, but the actual execution of the dunk, you know? and have points.
They have a minute and a half, right? And they always run, and then they're like, "Oh, I messed up."
You should have one attempt. If you get it, you get it. You don't, you don't. And we move on. You're moving on. Either you're moving on because you executed the dunk, or you didn't. But I propose it to. Why don't they have like dunking duos? That would be cool. Like have more than one guy dunking the ball, doing something interesting with it. You gotta change it up. Jumping over a car like they did back in the day.
They're not going to do that anymore. They make too much money to try that, man.
They got to do something.
They're not going to risk. I wouldn't go that far.
I would rather see the fucking mascots go out there and do a dunk, jump through a flaming hoop or something, man.
Oh, the mascots would be an interesting one.
That would be funny.
What would the Coyote do?
Exactly. What outfit would they wear? That would be fun to me. The fans would love
the Coyote coming in as Batman. I think we're onto something here.
Dude, that would be amazing to me.
Or even like those spirit crews that go out there with the trampolines.
Oh God, yes, dude. Have the whole floor be a big trampoline or something. Yeah.
Now, speaking of the whole floor, the LED floor, I kind of dug, man.
I was
digging the LED floor. And they were showing like. Oh, by the way,
is Sabrina a nugget? Oh God,
she ain't bad.
I knew somebody was gonna say this.
She ain't bad, but she ain't no Kelsey Plum though. Kelsey Plum is the nugget. Ionescu's fine. She's cute.
No one is a power dunker. This is true, man.
Coyote catching a bat while dunking, says Mario Cavazos.
Oh God, that would be something, right? Have the bat flying right there by the rim or something.
The best part for me of NBA All-Star Weekend was watching the celebrity basketball game.
Kevin Hart, he was balling out there.
Well, you saw Micah Parsons won the MVP.
Yeah.
And when they made the announcement, they said, finally, the Dallas Cowboys have won something.
I don't really watch the celebrity game at all. I know it comes out on ESPN, but
it was Team Shannon against Team Stephen
A.
It was pretty good, man. You had Fitty there, and you had Lil Wayne and all that.
That's probably more competitive than the All-Star game.
It was more competitive, man. And then also they seemed to really want it, right? So it kind of sucked, man. But the All-Star weekend kind of sucked. It just was what it was.
Look at that. Chris Gonzalez, LED floor was trash.
No, my goodness. It was great, dude.
It was cool. I thought it was a good gimmick, that they had. But we were talking, I was talking with some of my friends, and one of my friends is Jonas Clark. He's a producer as well, right?
Yeah.
And from a technical aspect of things, we're wondering, if you're watching TV, or even like right now, I have the monitors on, right?
Yeah.
I put my hand close to this big monitor widescreen that I have here. It's warm. You're on a court and you're playing on this surface that's probably like plexiglass or something. Does that shit get hot?
That's a good point.
And you have it on for a long time. It's like, how do they cool that thing?
And are there dead spots on the court?
Yeah.
How does that work?
It's hot,
like, is it one big piece, or is it just pieces? But like
it's little sections. They put sections together
like Legos.
Yeah, and it makes one big picture, one big screen, right? But I had some questions, like what happens if you spill a liquid on there? You clean that up. It's glass. It's a slippery surface. It's even more dangerous than the regular court. So it was just little things we were thinking about. I did like the graphical effects and whatnot, but I don't know if the NBA should incorporate a whole LED floor. I think it would be cool for, like, say, advertising. Instead of putting that weird graphic that they have now, just maybe put like a panel there you can display different graphics and whatnot, from different sponsors, or maybe even make it a little interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Put something there on a special night or whatnot,
I'm down with that.
I could see that.
I'm down with that. Sith comes out and says, come on, Jimenez. Did you just call him Little Wayne? It's Lil Wayne. First of all, it's not that either. It's Wheezy. Okay.
Oh God. The All-Star celebrity is more competitive than the NBA All-Stars. This is true, man. I'm not lying, dude. It is.
So last night after the game, they're asking LeBron James, hey, how do you fix this? And he goes, oh, I don't know, man. Just is what it is. It's just soft. It's just soft. There's no competitive fire for any of those guys when it comes to competing against the best. There's just no fire.
Look at Chris Gonzalez. Someone who was colorblind said he couldn't see anything.
So LeBron was asked the question. Well, actually, he wasn't even asked the question. He brought it up. He said something to the effect of, I was asked the other day if I'm going to have a farewell tour or if I'm going to have
Tim Duncan it.
if I'm going to do a Tim Duncan and just like fax in my resignation,
No,
my
went
retirement
he
papers.
said, "Peace, I'm out."
So I remember growing up, Hemisphere Arena style, going to the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar farewell tour. And I remember Kareem comes out and they gave him like cowboy hats and cowboy boots. And every arena that he would go to, that it was his last time there, they gave him gifts.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a thing for a good while there in the 80s and part of the 90s, where you'd have these farewell tours.
Yeah.
When was the last time we saw a farewell tour? Why is he even bringing it up?
Dirk Nowitzki was the one that comes to mind.
Yeah, but did every stadium give him something? Did every team give him something?
No, what they gave him is they gave him his roses, and they had like tribute videos for every arena that he would go to. It's not like they came out and we're gonna gift you this,
Because I remember with Kareem, they like sat him, middle of the court. You have a throne, where they're like honoring you, and it was done very dramatically back in the day. You're right, Nowitzki was one that they did celebrate and honor. I know they played the video at the AT&T Center of like the great moments of it all. But for him to say, am I going to have a farewell tour? I don't think he is. And I think that the thing about LeBron, he's going to have multiple farewell tours. He's going to be Aaron Rodgers.
He's going to be a diva.
He's going to retire. He's going to hint that he's going to retire. I don't know if that's my last game or not. And then he's going to just suck in all the publicity, just soak it all in, all the air of sucking in all the air of the room,
retire, and then come back and say, I want to play with Brian.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe I'll think about it.
Yeah.
And then the question will be, he's retired, but there's an injury of somebody in January. Maybe he'll be a end of the year pickup. That's going to be LeBron, dude.
Yeah. You know what? Let's talk about Charles Barkley too. And they were trying to do something different this year for the NBA All-Star weekend or whatever, kind of like a live watch, like they see that's going on right now with a lot of TikTokers and YouTubers are doing. So they did that, and they had Charles Barkley on there, and they're talking about, Indiana, and he's comparing, this is a boring city, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's cold here. He goes, well, it's either this or we go over to, Golden State, where you're going to get shanked or killed by a homeless and this and that. And he's just berating the town. And Draymond Green's right there. And he's like, no, it's not, Chuck. No, it's not, Chuck. Oh, yeah, I can't walk anywhere. I can't walk around the bay. I have to wear a bulletproof vest and this and that. And I'm like, next year, the NBA All-Star game is going to be over in the Bay City.
Yeah, he's not doing them any favors.
I know that he's probably doing it.
Golden State's no longer in Oakland. It's in San Francisco.
It's in San Francisco. And it's like, I get that he's doing it probably as a joke, but it's in poor taste, kind of. Like, this is the city that's going to host next. And you're just outright just saying, so it was stupid move by Chuck, right?
I think so too.
Saying dumb stuff. And then you had Kenny saying dumb shit. I'm like, why don't you all just take the drinks away from the guys, man?
They're trying to one up each other.
I'm just like, bro, it was both dumb. And the thing is, Shaq, for all the nonsense that he always spews, he was the even keeled one.
Yeah. So if you had told me before All-Star weekend if I thought that Trae Young was going to be a Spur, I would have said 25% chance. No, not at all. After watching the All-Star weekend, 70% chance.
You saw them chatting it up.
They were chatting up. They were sitting next to each other. Like, how did those two happen to sit next to each other?
They asked him.
And then Trae Young asked a question about, hey, what does Wemby need to be successful in the NBA?
Yeah.
And he goes, he needs a player that does this, this, and this, describing himself.
I thought that was great by Trae, by the way. He just trolled the shit out of him,
And a lot of Spurs fans out there, you just need to understand, if you want an all-star, if you want a top 20 guy, you give up the fucking farm for that guy. You're not going to be like, well, we're going to offer them, Zach Collins and, 2 first rounders. No.
I saw what you put out. I retweeted it.
4 first rounders, Keldon, Zach, make it happen.
Where was it, man? I saw what you had put out. There it is. And it says tier maker, right? This is what you were using.
Oh yeah. So Ty Yeager had the tier maker.
Tier maker.
What are the tiers of like all the Spurs?
Untouchable. You have Wemby. No, not looking to trade. There's nobody there on that tier. prefer not to trade, but will if necessary. It's your boy Devin Vassell, arguably the best well-rounded player on the Spurs. Comfortable with trading basically the whole
roster.
Damn team. Ship them out now. Zach Collins. And was that Champagnie?
It's Champagnie. Yeah.
Oh,
no,
God,
yeah. Champagnie and Zach Collins are dead to me. But I mean, if you look at his stat line, this is a guy that averages 27 points per game. He is an all-star who shoots three-pointers at a 37% clip. He also averages 11 assists per game and a steal and a half. You give up the farm for that guy.
You might have to say goodbye
and you're not even giving up your own stuff. You're gonna give back Atlanta's picks back, like the movie Draft Day. I want my future back. That's what Atlanta wants. Here are your 3 picks back. Here are your 2 picks. Here's a swap that you gave us. Here is the Toronto pick that didn't belong to
cash
us.
Consideration.
Who do we get? Who did we trade for Toronto's pick? Right? Was that like Jakob Poeltl?
Yeah, Jakob.
Okay, so basically we traded Jakob, right? And then here's the Chicago pick, which was part of the DeMar DeRozan trade.
Yeah.
So it's not like the Spurs are trading their own picks. They're trading picks that they developed, that they got, that Brian Wright has gotten over the years for bits and pieces. So why not do it? You're still going to have a first-round draft pick every single year. You're still going to have Boston's.
Give them 5 first-rounders. Chris Leja
might be worth it. Look at a lineup like this. I got to ask this to Spurs fans, right? Look at a lineup like this. Let's say that Keldon was part of the trade, because he probably would be. A lineup that would have Trae Young, Devin Vassell, Sohan, Wemby, and whatever big guy they get in the draft. Roll the ball out into the court. That five unit right there will win games. They may not be championship quality, but they can gel together and win games. And Trae Young is under contract for many years to come.
I'll tell you what, they probably win more than 11 or 16. The Spurs are now scheduled or now to win about 16 games for the season. That's trash, dude. Absolute garbage. And everybody's like, no, we need to see what we have with this team they need to develop another 2 or 3 seasons. No, they don't.
Trey Jones was a second rounder for a reason.
2 or 3 seasons from now, Spurs fans are going to be done with this team. And you know who's going to still be coaching the San Antonio Spurs? Coach Pop.
Well, I don't know, man. You know, I was taking a look. I deal with insurance. And did you know that Pop's contract runs beyond his life expectancy?
I know, dude. It's crazy, man. But, you know, at some point we were having this discussion, right? It was off the books, right? When we were here watching the UFC pay-per-view fight on the weekend. So I have some people that I know, you know, that are prominent members in the media community. So we're just chilling here and we're talking. And then one of my friends goes to saying the same thing that you're saying. Well, it might be time for Coach Pop to move on. I'm like, what are you saying? Just say it with your chest out, you know?
Yeah.
Where you're amongst friends, nobody's taking videos he didn't want to say it. I'm like, bro, just say it. You're saying it without saying it. You're scared to say it. And you're sitting down right here in front of no audience, and you're still afraid to say you want him gone.
5 losing seasons in a row.
That's what I told him. And he would not say it. He would not say it. I don't know why.
Dude, Pop is a cult, man.
I'm like, bro.
Dude, Pop could have 5 more losing seasons, and we could lose Wemby and have 10 in a row, and you'd have some going, well, I mean, I know that he's 80 years old, but, man, he got us those 5 rings, man. He got us those 5 rings. Look, dude, man, at some point, you are hired to be fired as a coach.
And speaking of Belichick, fired, we're going to get
6 rings. Bill Belichick, 6 rings. Where's he at now?
He gone. And,
oh, by the way, there were 8 NFL openings. Which one did he get?
None. I think they interviewed him for a couple.
Okay, you're right. They did.
And they
interviewed him for a couple. And did they take him?
No.
Okay. So what does that say? Because isn't Bill Belichick the NFL's version of Greg Popovich?
He is. And he shows he was a great coach, right? Not taking that away from Belichick, right? But what did he show you as well? He needs to have greatness around him in order to win games.
Right.
You need to have that guy.
He wasn't Larry Brown. Larry Brown
Yeah.
was the guy that would take players who were an under talented team and would take them to the playoffs, because he was like a developer.
Hell, fucking Larry Brown took some of his teams to the finals.
Yeah, they had no business being there.
I mean, come on.
But there are other coaches out there, the Pat Rileys, the Phil Jacksons, the Greg Popoviches, where if you give them 3 or 4 All-Stars, they're going to do something. They're going to do something.
Yeah, these guys, man. Brady made Bill just like Duncan made Pop. That's true. That's true.
Basically it.
That is true. But at some time in the near future, you're going to have to move on. And the thing is, we've already talked about this in the past. Who's going to replace him? You have to have a successor already in mind. You got to start thinking about the future, because unfortunately, Coach Pop's not going to coach forever, and he's going to go down as the greatest coach, probably one of the greatest in NBA history, and rightfully so. Give him his flowers. He's done a lot for the city, for the culture here as far as the Spurs have gone.
Yep.
He's shown everybody else what to do to kind of instill that winning culture, to have that structure, and that's great. But at some point in time, you got to move on, and you got to hand the reins over to a new general.
Tim Gonzalez reaches out to us on our YouTube stream and says, Mike, here's my dream starting lineup: Wemby, Flagg, Thompson, Young, and Sohan. Wow, you're already digging deep into the 2025 draft with Cooper Flagg.
That's all Spurs fans can do, Mike. 11 games that they've won. And you know what? It's looking like it's going to be 16, less than 20.
We're beyond looking at college players. People are looking at high schoolers right now.
Jeez,
what we need is this high schooler who's ranked number 1 overall, who's committed to Duke. That's funny, dude.
You know what we're going to talk about too right now? We're going to talk about an NBA coach who was just shown the door. He was given his walking papers, and that is the Brooklyn Nets. They went ahead and dismissed Jack Vaughn before we started the show.
Yeah.
And this was reported by Sham Shania, Adrian Wojnarowski, former Spur Jack Vaughn at that.
Yeah, Jacques Vaughn with 21 wins, which is twice as many as Greg Popovich this year.
Yeah. And, he was given a tough situation over in Brooklyn because they really don't have that many star players on the team, other than now they just have Ben Simmons, and let's say he's a lesser version of himself.
Right.
He's not that guy. He never was. He needed to have somebody else that was going to be that leader. It's not Ben Simmons. And unfortunately for Jacques, he got the short end of the stick because, of course, they want to go ahead and see this team win. And that's the thing with a lot of these NBA teams outside of the Spurs, is that you have to have those wins in order to keep your job. And it was arguably, he was also stated behind the scenes that he had lost the locker room.
Yeah, and you have to understand, even though Brooklyn is Brooklyn, it's not necessarily Manhattan where you have Madison Square Garden. It's still the New York market.
They want you to win.
They want you to win.
Yeah,
that's exactly it. And they've gone through a lot of coaches recently. Most recently, they were with Steve Nash. But as you mentioned, Jacques Vaughn fired as the Brooklyn Nets head coach. ESPN going on to say that the plan is to build around Michael Bridges, and they have a lot of draft capital and salary cap space to build around this summer and beyond. So the search is on over there in Brooklyn. I'm just thinking about the Spurs right now in NBA All-Star Weekend. We saw Sohan go out there, and he was part of the sophomore group that won. Wemby was doing his thing. It was a great introduction. It was great seeing the players out there and doing their thing. I'm glad that Sohan was a last-minute replacement to join the Rising Stars Challenge.
I'm glad I saw Wemby out there on the court.
Yeah. And if you saw, even still, despite the Spurs having an 11 and 44 record or whatever we have right now, despite all that, when it came to the press conferences and you had all the players out there, who was the one with the most media?
Wemby.
It was Wemby.
They had Wemby on TNT, which was great because he's representing the Spurs in the city of San Antonio. They had him doing bits where he was impersonating Shaq.
Yeah.
And one of the best iconic moments from, the NBA on TNT. And that was funny.
Yeah.
And then he did a video, not a video, but an interview, right? And this was like 2.5 hour show that their pre-show that they were doing before Saturday's NBA All-Star, all night, all the festivities were going to happen on Saturday, which was a skills challenge and whatnot, 3-point shootout, and of course the slam dunk contest. So they roll out Wemby halfway through this, debacle, and Wemby comes out, and they asked him, and I had shared the video, and it's gone crazy over social media. They said, "What's the hardest that Coach Pop's ever been on you?" And he's like, "Well, there's one time we're in the film room, and in front of everybody, he's showing the film of Wemby, and he's like, 'What the fuck is this?'" The way he says it, Wemby was saying it. And it was funny because he was just telling them the truth. Like, Coach Pop called him out in front of everybody in the film room saying, "You've kind of reverted back. You were doing good, and now you took a step back," kind of telling them, "Hey, you need to get your head out of your ass and play better." And that was funny because he does send me texts like this from, time to time. And I was like, well, kind of he needs that. And he was okay with it, which shows that he's taken that coaching, and he's wanting to do better. He wants to play better. And it's cool to see Wemby just going out there, and he's just so comfortable in the spotlight when they're asking him questions. Yeah, you can tell this guy's like, he is it,
He is a star.
Yeah.
Hey, taking a look right now, I found this to be exciting. John Hollinger of ESPN has what he calls the player efficiency rating. It's kind of it's the per rating, where it factors in your assists, your turnovers, your usage, your rebounds, your all the things that you bring to the table offensively and defensively. And at the All-Star break right now, the number one player, according to John Hollinger, when it comes to player efficiency, overall player, number one, Joel Embiid. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
2, Nikola Jokic.
Fair enough.
3, SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Number 4, Giannis.
Okay.
Number 5, Luka Doncic. We're seeing a bunch of all-stars, right? 6, Anthony Davis. 7, Tyrese Halliburton. 8, Donovan Mitchell. 9, Kawhi Leonard. 10, Domantas Sabonis, who was not even an all-star this year. 11, Kevin Durant. Then you go on to Andre Drummond, Zion Williamson, and you see other names over there like Devin Booker and Kyrie and Jimmy Butler, LeBron James, Jason Tatum. 21, you have Jalen Brunson. 22, Victor Wembanyama.
Young fella.
Victor Wembanyama is the 22nd most player efficient player in the entire NBA, according to John Hollinger.
And you know what? That's with him not even getting the ball.
And no players, no plays designed for him
yeah.
earlier in the season. So I'm looking through the list here of like, well, where are the other Spurs?
Oh, God, dude.
Okay. So where are the other Spurs?
Where's Sohan?
I found him, by the way. So I'm looking at so he was number 22, right? The second most efficient Spur player. And you have to have a certain number of minutes played and a certain number of games played. At number 114,
jeez, man,
Devin Vassell. Just to kind of give you the range where he's at, the player above him is Austin Reeves. So, and Fred VanVleet.
Okay.
So you got some decent players in the area there, Aaron Gordon, whatnot. Looking for other Spurs over here. In the top 150, only 2 Spurs.
Jeez, that's
the third most efficient Spur, according to John Hollinger. At number 154, Trey Jones. At number 162, Keldon Johnson.
You know what was the most asinine thing that I've seen happen lately on Spurs Twitter? Is the stands, the Trey Jones stands that come out and say, he's not that bad of a point guard. He's actually pretty efficient, and he's good at what he does. He can be a great point guard coming off the bench.
He can be off the bench. I don't want him as a starter, though.
Like, listen to that statement that you all just said. He would be great coming off the bench as that second option, not your first option. And you can't argue with these guys. They stand on that hill and they'll be, oh, well, let's talk about stats. It's more than that, man.
I found Jeremy Sohan, by the way.
Where's he at? 350.
263. Out of 340 some odd players, he is 263 in player efficiency. Just to kind of give you an example, at 265, you have Blake Wesley.
But honestly, is that Sohan's fault, though? You've seen what Coach Pop is doing.
I don't know, dude. It takes all stats into consideration.
It does, but I'm just saying, at the end of the day,
You can make that assessment about every Spur. You can say
Yeah.
that
He's
Wemby
not
should
being
be higher.
utilized.
Wemby should be higher because of whatever.
Because he's not getting any
And
touches,
that's
man.
why
He's getting his
that's why
touches.
whenever I think of Jeremy Sohan, he's the most conflicting player.
I like Sohan though, man.
There's some games like the game that you and I went to.
They should have pointed at you.
He balls out, man. He balls out. But then this is the last 30 days, right?
Yeah.
Last 30 days, he's had games where he's had 2 points, 6, 8, 9. But in the last month,
yeah,
the most he's scored is 16, 18 against the Magic.
But the thing with Sohan is that Sohan isn't necessarily out there to score buckets. He's out there to play
Then
defense and get rebounds.
No one plays defense. If he's there to play defense and we're giving up 120 some odd points per game and we're the worst of the Western Conference,
there's no
Mike, defense to be played.
Here's the thing.
We need points.
You're looking at the gauge of the team itself. As far as an individual, that's what they want him to do, is to go out there and play defense. He might be the only one because the rest of the team sure as shit don't know how to play defense.
I'm willing to give Sohan another year. Another year at starter.
I like the kid, man.
11 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. That's just a dude.
But you know what?
That's just a dude.
You also need to make sure that you refer to him as a champ because he did win.
Yeah, and he scored just as many points as I did.
He scored 0 points.
He had 2 more rebounds than me.
He had 0 points.
They didn't have him out there, though.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where I see it. We have seen games of Jeremy Sohan where he goes out and gets 30 points. But then we also see the games where he's 2 points, 1 for 9 shooting, and 2 rebounds.
STP1.
It's just so weird.
Look, fire Brian Wright. He's on the clock this year. This offseason.
He ain't on the clock, man. I don't know, man. He should have been on the clock when Primo dropped his towel. We'll never know what the hell happened there, man. We'll never know what happened there.
Hey, but let's go ahead and talk about something that we're going to wind up doing, right?
Yeah.
For starting this week, and we're going to leave it up to you, the viewers. We want to go ahead and put out a playlist for you guys every weekend. You can listen to it every Friday, right? You can listen to it on the weekend as you're in the backyard barbecuing or whatnot, talking shit with your friends in the backyard or wherever you're at in your man caves. So we want to go ahead and have a theme this week. And I wanted to do it last week, but we're going to start it right. This week's theme is going to be all about dad rock. Send us your best dad rock bands that you think of. Creed, Nickelback. We want to hear those songs while we're kicking back on the weekend. We're going to have that playlist. It's meant to be in fun, just something to have fun with. The theme will change every week. This week is going to be the dad rock theme.
Okay.
So your favorite dad rock band, what is it? They make fun of you with Nickelback. They say you shower to it.
No, I'm not a Nickelback guy, although I would be lying if I didn't say that I didn't like at least 1 or 2 Nickelback songs. Dad rock.
Creed, Incubus.
I wouldn't consider Incubus dad rock.
It's dad rock,
I think Incubus
bro.
is a good band.
It's dad rock.
So I'm taking a look at the divorced dad rock playlist here, and some nominees would be like Buckcherry, Nickelback, Creed,
my God.
Lifehouse, Daughtry,
3
Doors Down. 3 Doors Down might be my first one.
Look at it,
because I don't consider like Pearl Jam or Nirvana to be divorced dad rock. That's just
Elias says Back in Black, AC/DC. That's dad rock.
It's not dad rock.
That's dad rock,
dude.
Bro, come on.
Dude, AC/DC came out in the 70s, dude. That means that the people who listened to it in high school back then are now 70 years old.
They had some bangers though. They had some bangers in the 80s. Same thing with Def Leppard,
Yeah, I think
those are 80s hair bands.
Divorced dad rock is not for the 60-plus-year-old crowd.
Yeah,
the divorced dad rocker is somebody between the ages of 35 and 55. That's what I think the range is.
Yeah.
Well, so if you go back in time, 35 and 55. So 35 minus 18 is 17. That means 2007 is the last of it, and then you go back in time to 1987. So basically, for me, dad rock means that the songs were released between 1987 and 2007. So if you want to say Def Leppard,
Grizzly, how we get it. You hate old people, Jimenez.
Well, that's not divorced dad rock.
We're not talking about divorced dad rock. We're just talking about dad rock in general.
Oh, okay. Because I thought
no divorced dad rock. It's just
okay.
dad rock. Bro.
Oh, okay. So
dad rock.
Okay, then AC/DC would be it. See,
Yeah.
the phrase that I've been seeing online right now is divorced dad rock.
No, this is just dad rock in general. Look at that. Matchbox 20. That's not classified as dad rock.
I wouldn't classify it as
Santana.
Rock. I like Matchbox 20 a lot.
Santana.
CCR.
Wow, that's a throwback.
That's just old man rock, dude.
Creedence Clearwater
Revival.
Oh,
that's just old man rock. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love 70s rock. I love 90s rock. Right? 80s is dead to me. I
Linkin Park.
Not
Linkin Park had some bangers.
Linkin Park is divorced dad rock. But if we're gonna, are we gonna pick up a song? You see, because we're doing dad rock, and I think it's too wide of a net there, Joe.
It's dad rock, dude. So
no, there's dad rock could be
Green Day.
Dad rock can be 9,000 bands. We gotta like pinpoint what we're looking
okay.
for.
Let's put it like this.
Give me a decade.
I'm gonna give you a decade. We'll go ahead and do the early 2000s dad rock.
That's Linkin Park.
Early 2000s dad rock. Give me your best early 2000s dad rock.
It's got to be Linkin Park because Linkin Park is the best rock band of the 2000s.
Creed's gonna be in there somewhere, dude.
So I would say, even though it may not be my favorite song, but it's the song that I like listening to the most sometimes. It's in my top 5. I'll go "Breaking the Habit" by Linkin Park.
Okay, Breaking the Habit. All right.
You know, because I mean, don't be wrong. Hybrid Theory was their big album.
Yeah.
But they had some bangers afterwards, some rock hits afterwards that I thought were good. I mean, Crawlin' and In the End and all that stuff, Paperclip.
You know, Filter's going to be in that dad rock mix somewhere.
Filter's a 90s band for the most part. Picture
90s or late 90s, 2000s.
Nice Shot, stuff like that. Yeah, I'll go with Breaking the Habit by
Linkin Park.
Okay. The Cure is what Mike is listening to. I didn't like The Cure, dude.
The Killers is not dad rock. No, but I didn't say the Killers.
I don't.
The Cure is what Mike is listening to.
I had a lot of friends who were into the Cure growing up. I'm not a fan, and I'm not saying it's bad music. Hey, I just never got into it.
There you go. That's dad rock. Limp Bizkit. I fucking hate Limp Bizkit, bro.
Dude, young kids these days love them. You go back in time. We talked about this last week about how when we grew up in the 90s, we looked back to music from the 70s. You tend to look back 2 decades. 2 decades ago, Limp Bizkit was a thing.
I hated Limp
Bizkit. And people who are 2024 in high school are listening to rock music. They look at classic rock. They look at Linkin Park. They look at Limp Bizkit. And when I go back and I listen to Limp Bizkit, I hated it when it first came out.
I fucking still hate it, dude.
There are 1 or 2 songs where I'm like, okay, this is fine. Dude, I was listening to, you get on Spotify, you hit shuffle, and you can create your own radio station and all that stuff. I was driving along, and I hate Kid Rock.
Oh, dude, I hate Kid Rock, man. I never liked him.
Kid Rock sucks. The biggest fucking poser in music last 20 years, right?
Your brother says he's straight out of the trailer park. Bro, you're not.
He's fucking wealthy,
not.
dude.
Exactly,
came from a wealthy family.
Yeah, no.
But the song Picture came out. The duet he sang with Sheryl Crow.
Yeah.
That song is great, man.
You listen to that shit when you get litty? Oh, come on.
I can't think of you while I'm lying next to her.
Crying.
That's a duet. That's a karaoke duet. I'd be lying if I said I had karaoke that was some drunk chick at dad's karaoke.
No, man.
Rob Zombie says Garrett from the Netherlands.
Oh, God, dude. Swiss, I need a pic of Mike with a flock of seagulls hairdo. Hey, Rob Zombie might be classified as dad rock. Slipknot.
I wasn't a big fan of Slipknot.
Korn.
I mean, they had some good songs. They had some good songs. Korn wasn't bad. Talking about entertainment, by the way. Last night we had the People's Choice Awards.
Oh, do you see your girl won?
Well, let's take a look here at the winners. Movie of the year was Barbie. Action movie of the year was The Hunger Games, Ballad of the Songbirds and Snakes. Comedy of the year went to Barbie. Drama of the year went to Oppenheimer, which I'm going to watch probably tonight.
You're going to watch Oppenheimer. You got to watch Barbie. They call it Barbenheimer.
Nice. Ryan Gosling won male movie star for Barbie. Margot Robbie won for Barbie as female star of the year. Action star Rachel Zegler from The Hunger Games. Comedy movie star of the year Jennifer Lawrence from No Hard Feelings. I liked that movie. That was a cute movie. It was funny. It was stupid.
I haven't seen it, man.
It was good.
All right.
It was good. She gets naked in there
Oppenheimer is 5 hours, bro. It feels like it is. That's a long ass movie, man.
Okay, so Jenna Ortega, by the way, won for Scream 6 for drama movie star of the year. But watching, I watched over the weekend. Went to Westlake's Theater.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
You went to the hood?
Exit 7, baby.
You went to the hood? We here Santikos?
Yeah, Santikos. It used to be Alamo Draft House back in the day.
Hey, that place is nice now, dude.
Yeah, it's all right.
They got that little bar there. You could just pull up, have you a little pour before you watch your movie.
I mean, it's not nice.
Oh, come on.
It's all right.
Oh,
it's better than what it used to be, but I mean, dude, it ain't nice.
I've been
to nice movie theaters. That ain't nice.
I
go to Flicks. That's my primary
that's
one.
my jam, bro.
Flicks is amazing.
That's my jam.
Okay, so I watched the Iron Claw.
All right.
About the Von
Erichs, yeah.
Dude, it was good, man.
You cry?
That was good. Well, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to cry when you know how it's all going to end, you know. But I took my nephew over there. My nephew's just 20.
Oh, I met your
21,
nephew
22 years old.
Yeah.
We're over there, and he's in his early 20s. I told him it's about wrestling, and I said it's based on a true story. And the look on his face is like, no, Uncle Michael, no. Like when every Von Erich would die, he was like, they didn't all die, did they? I'm like, well, all but one.
Man, look at this shit. Has me dying right here, man. It's Marbach nice.
Yeah, Jonathan C with the Marbach nice.
That's the
it's
the
like
comment of the week, right there.
It's kind of like a comfort in. You know, whenever I do business traveling and I have to pay it out of pocket,
bro,
I'm not going to go stay at Hotel Emma. I'm not going to go stay at a really nice place, right? I go stay at a Comfort Inn.
It's Marbach nice.
It was like comfort. It was the Comfort Inn, dude. It was the Comfort Inn of movie theaters. It was nice enough. You felt safe enough. It was fine. The food was decent. The drink was decent. But it wasn't nice. It wasn't 4 or 5 star accommodations.
This shit is going on a t-shirt, man.
It's Marbach
nice. Fuck, bro. That shit is fire right there, man. I'm going to get with my boy Mike Baez. Bro, we got to get this shit going. I know me and Leha and all the freaking guys that are all put will be wearing this shit, dude. It's Marbach nice. This shit is going to go in the store. Going on the online store, bro.
That's
damn
great.
It.
So we're gonna get into the conversation about Yolanda Saldivar.
Yeah, before we get into that, let me show them one little thing. So we're gonna be doing some things that are gonna be more interactive with the fans, you know. So I got some ideas, you know, and we don't have a call-in show where you can call in on a number. But if you want to be part of our show for a couple minutes, maybe 3 to 5 minutes, you send us a little nice tip here. We'll send you a link. You can join us and give us your take. You got
I like it.
A couple minutes here on the floor. We'll listen to you and we'll go ahead and, you know, have our rebuttal back with you guys, you know, but it's cool to give them that avenue.
Instead of rock the mic, rock the pod.
Rock the pod, bro. That's what I'm saying. I like that. And you can come up on the stage. We'll give you a couple minutes. Go on a rant. You can let Jimenez know what you think about his new haircut or what have you.
I like it.
You know, but
I like it.
It's meant to be fun, you know. So you can have a sports take or an opinion about anything, and we'll go ahead and give you our response to it. So we're going to start that here. And the other thing we're going to do is we're going to do this. So we're going to have the listeners pick a topic Thursday, right?
Okay.
So the listeners will pick a topic or whatever they want, you know, and we'll get the best ones and we'll put them in here. And if you want us to spin the wheel and talk about a topic that they picked, that we selected, that they, let's say, recommended for us, you got to tip us.
Nice.
You send us a tip and we hit the spinning button. And whatever topic it lands on, that's what we can talk about. You know, so this is just an example.
Interesting. I like it.
So it's just new ways for us to get interactive with you guys and make a little bit of scratch and help the show grow, you know? So I'm putting some new things out there.
So who do they send the 2-minute video to?
No, they're not going to send us the 2-minute video. We're going to get them live on here. I'll send them a link. They could join us right now.
Okay.
You know, it's your time to shine, baby. You don't get no prep time. You know, whatever you're going to say, you say it with your chest out. You send us a tip. I send you a link. You come on in. We kick you out.
I think we need to tape them the first couple of tries.
Ah, no, dude. I'm going to go live with them. Let's get them in here. Talk your shit. That's what we're going to call that segment. Talk your shit. Oh, Hope Jimenez isn't wearing any Holmes gear at the Westlake Theater. He's definitely
You're gonna get kicked out.
Oh God. Happy Monday, MJ and Joe. What's up, Hanover Fist? Don't start charging yet. I'm waiting on my tax return. No, God, bro. Oh, look at that. Oh, USOA cooking. What's up, fellas? What's up, Swiss, bro? Oh man, they requesting, if you're listening, that you go ahead and get Mike and put the flock of seagulls hairdo on him, man. So we can have that as the logo for the playlist for Friday.
Nice. And
the
I
dad
ran.
rock. Yes.
I ran so far away.
So anyway, we're going to get back on topic. Just, throwing it out there, things that we're going to be doing. And I do also have something that I'm going to run by our good friends over at Sweep the League, because we want to go ahead and be able to cross-promote each other. So I do have something that's going to be called the Card Collecting Corner. Me and Rudy like collecting cards. So we're going to make this work. We're going to have it where we're going to bring him on or record a segment with Rudy talking about card collecting and whatnot. And we'll play that during the week sometime. And I'll also go on Rudy's show and I'll talk about card collecting and all that with him. And we're also probably going to wind up getting a sponsor for that, which will reach out to somebody here shortly.
Nice.
Which will not be named on this show yet, but if we can ink out a deal, why the hell not?
I like it.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get on the entertainment topic.
Okay. Are we going to have the bump?
We're going to have the bump. Damn right we are. Let's go and do it. Bump, bump, bump. Bump, bump, bump. Bump, bump, bump.
I need that as my ringtone, dude.
Hey, it's not bad, right?
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
There you go.
So a lot of people don't want to watch the Yolanda Saldivar documentary going on right now on the Oxygen Network. I get it. There are a lot of fans out there who are big fans of Selena Quintanilla and don't want to see her killer ever speak out on anything. But I found this to be interesting because I had to watch it, dude. I'm a true crime guy, dude. I don't go to bed at night without watching like Dateline.
I hate true crime.
Or
I hate it.
Forensic Files or whatnot.
Bro. No. My wife has watched that. She watches it religiously, Mike. I've gotten burned out, bro. Burnt out.
So the reason why this is a big deal is because Yolanda Saldivar has been in jail for 29 years. She gets the chance of being released from prison next March. She was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years. 30 years is coming up. It's been that long since Selena was gunned down there at the Days Inn in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Yeah.
Selena, Tejano superstar. We know all that, right? But the documentary is coming out. It's the first part I saw is about an hour and a half long. It's called Selena Yolanda, The Secrets Between Them. It's part of a 2-part docu-series that features interviews with Yolanda Saldivar.
Yeah.
Now, I went into it a little bit skeptical because I thought to myself, dude, it's just going to be Yolanda Saldivar just talking her shit for 2 hours.
Yeah.
But they treated it as though it was like a Dateline episode. And it wasn't the Dateline people, but it was kind of in that format where they go back in time and they start playing the
events.
The events. They start playing the crying that she had because she was in a 6-hour standoff or situation there with Corpus Christi police.
Yep.
They interviewed Corpus Christi police that were on the scene, the hostage negotiator that was there, or whatever the negotiator was there to get her out. They interviewed that guy. They had some reporters, San Antonio Express News. They had Univision TV anchors. They had Yolanda Saldivar's family. By the way, just thought of a tall tale.
God, no, man.
Yolanda Saldivar worked with my mother-in-law at University Hospital.
Oh, man.
They worked in the same unit.
There we go.
I didn't say they were friends, but they worked together. So going back to it all, I guess the whole point of it is to talk about the state of mind that she was in at the time. she's not saying that she didn't do it, right? But she's not remorseful either. But the whole point is for her to say, hey, look, this is what got me to that point. And I don't know if it's to provide sympathy, but it's to what got her to this point. And she blames Selena's dad. And she says that Selena's dad was a complete asshole and was controlling, and that he spun a narrative that people believe to this day. And part of the narrative that she was talking about was, she was like, she goes, yeah, he referred to me as the president of the fan club. And she was like, I hadn't done that in 2 years. She goes, I was actually with the family. I was a part of the family. I was somebody who would go to her with her to music videos, and I would accompany her, and I would keep her company, and we became friends and all that stuff. She goes, all that stuff with the whole fan club, the deranged fan, she goes, that was Abraham Quintanilla trying to like spin a narrative. And then the second thing was she was like, the whole narrative of, oh, she was stealing money from them,
from the fan club. Yeah.
And from the fan club. She goes, the fan club wasn't making money. And she goes, the boutiques were broke. She goes, they didn't make payroll sometimes. She goes, how am I stealing from something that's broke? And then she's going on by saying, by the way, all of these allegations of me stealing and embezzling, all that stuff, where are the charges? Because they could never prove it. Because they never, and how money was deposited, this and the other. She goes, all it was lies. And she goes, it was not AB, it was Abraham Quintanilla trying to like spin a narrative. And then the movie, and the reason why I'm not a big fan of the movie is because every scene of that movie had to be approved by the dad. And the dad did not want, you can go back and revisit like the making of the movie, did not want it to be shown that his daughter eloped. And they said, well, that's a big part of her story. Everyone knows that she did.
Yeah.
But basically said that he was so protective of Selena and so protective of the family's image and all that stuff, that basically the narrative that we have all grown to know is what he has been saying from the get-go, not what other people that have independently verified.
Damn,
all that
sounds
stuff.
like he should be working for the Spurs front office.
It sounds like it. So she's just basically saying that she freaked out and that she was stressed out of her mind, and she was being accused of this, that, and the other, and was basically she was suicidal, and basically instead of killing herself, she somehow shot her. And she's not saying that she didn't shoot her. She's just saying the whole point of the whole thing was, what was her mind state? And then they interview police, the people who were trying to get her out of the truck. And they asked the police, do you believe anything that she says? And they said, well, we weren't prompting her on anything. We weren't asking her questions. She was just talking. And one of the police officers, the one that was doing the negotiations, was like, I believe her.
Yeah.
And then you have this anchor for this Univision station who they said she calls Selena's dad this, and that he was controlling, and that he was verbally abusive, and that he would drive people crazy and all that stuff. And the anchor goes, yeah, that's him. So it was interesting because it wasn't like her talking shit. The whole point of it was saying, now she wasn't remorseful. And I think that's going to hurt her chances of getting out. There's going to be a second part coming out where she says, I have secrets of Selena. And they're insinuating the fact that Selena might have had a side piece, which I don't know. We've heard those rumors for many, many years. But I found it to be interesting to say that maybe there's two sides of the story, that it doesn't change the fact that she should have gone to jail. It didn't change the fact that she's a murderer. But it's like trying to get into the brain of somebody who's like that. Kind of like sometimes people who are serial killers, you find out that they were molested and that they were this and the other. And
they had a tragic story.
There was a tragic story that led up to it. And basically it's trying to change the narrative from, it was just this deranged fan who, and basically she was saying that he doesn't, that Abraham's family and the family don't want to show that I was actually a very, very big part of what they did.
I don't know, man. This, at the end of the day, this bitch was just evil. You gonna kill somebody, you ain't got no remorse for it. She's rotting in prison rightfully so. If she gets on parole, she's going to come out in the streets and she's going to get blasted, bro. There's no way that she's going to be able to just walk out free and nothing's going to happen to her. Nothing. I mean, you're going to have consequences for your actions.
I would have thought that would have happened in jail.
I don't know why it hasn't, but for some reason, you know, depending on where they have her situated or whatever, she might be in solitary by herself
Could
or
be.
something, you know?
Could be.
But when you get out in the streets, a different story. You know, you're not behind those walls.
Yeah,
or behind those bars.
and then all that. What does that do? Just send somebody else to jail.
It does.
And somebody loses a dad or loses a mom.
But I'm just saying that's probably more than likely what's going to happen to her.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah,
I don't doubt it. But it's. I watched it for the novelty factor of it all. Just the I like the true crime of it all. It was very well produced. The first segment. Half of what she said, I was like, yeah, I bet you it's true.
I don't want to see the
other half. The other half I heard from her, I was just doing the jerk off move.
Yeah, no, I don't want to see her stinking face or even hear her stupid ass voice. I don't give a damn about the documentary. I'm not gonna watch 1 minute of it out of respect for the Reina.
Well,
Selena.
I never saw the Netflix thing on Selena.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a little bit more accurate because what we got from 1997's Selena with Jennifer Lopez, is probably all bullshit.
It's a movie, man.
It is. You know how we made fun of that Hot Cheetos movie because the Hot Cheetos movie was full of shit.
Yeah,
it's inspired by a real movie.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like
how is it called? Hot Ones or
whatever.
I don't know.
The Hot Ones is that guy from who was dating the porn star. But like we don't know the real story. We know the sanitized Disney style version of what we got from that movie, and we treat that like it's the gospel. But it probably isn't.
Look at this comment. Morby says she gets out on Marbach
cartel is coming after her.
No lies detected, bro. No lies detected.
So what was the phrase that was used? It's Marbach nice?
It's Marbach nice. That shit's going on a shirt. I'm putting that in the freaking store, bro.
Now, is there such thing as, hey, that girl's Marbach hot?
Hey, we could put that on there too.
She's Marbach
hot. I like that shit. We're gonna put that.
Well, think about that. Is there like hotness that's different from different parts of the city? I was at a furniture store yesterday with a friend of mine, and we're walking out of the store, and there was this pretty good looking girl that we had seen inside the furniture store. Now, mind you, we're on the north side. We're near, I guess you could say we're not in Stone Oak, but we're pretty close to it. And as we're walking out of the furniture store, my friend's trying to tell me this girl's hot. I'm like, yeah, she is hot. And she goes, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, I bet you she has a nice car. I bet you she's like, I don't know, somebody's, what do they call them, trophy wife or whatever. God, yeah. He was trying to say that. And then as she walked to the $100,000 car, he was like, I told you. But she was Stone Oak hot.
Stone Oak hot. Hey, so we're going to start bringing the show to an end here. But before we do,
we've been on for an hour 20.
We've been on for a while. But before we bring it to a close, there was a story that I did want to talk about, and it's about an angry Airbnb host. So this Airbnb host is a super host, right? Mm-hmm. So this guy that she had, a customer, went ahead and rented out her house. And he's like, oh, I'm going to have some friends over and this and that. She's like, that's fine and all, just make sure you send me the names of everybody you're going to have and how many people, because they have to comply with the fire department. You can only have so many people in the dwelling, for fire safety issues, And he's like, well, I'm going to have 4 to 5 people spend the night. The house can accommodate up to 12. He was going to have more than 12 people there. And they were creating a ruckus and all this. And she finally got tired and told the guy, hey, man, you got to leave, So the guy left her a scathing review, even though she's a super host and all that. He didn't follow any of the rules, mind you, before, he went in and rented the establishment. He already been told everything clear as day. You can't do this, this, and that. He violated all those rules. He gave her a scathing review, bad review, which hurts, So the host goes and says on the disclosure there, the property is monitored 24 hours a day. They have security cameras on the outside of the property to take care of everything, and find out how many people are coming and going and all that kind of stuff. So this lady goes and gets her revenge on the guy by sending video or and pictures of him with another girl coming into the house at 3 a.m. to his wife, ends his marriage. Now the guy's going ahead and filing a lawsuit against her, and she's getting in trouble because this is going beyond that I guess disclosure that Airbnb
Yeah.
has, where you can't be filming people without their consent, that kind of stuff, because it goes back to you're filming on the outside, but they don't know if you're doing that inside. You're violating somebody's trust there.
Right. I'm looking at the photos
Yeah.
right now. The photo is a surveillance video, no different than the outside of my house.
Yeah, but
So
she went beyond what she had to do. I mean, yeah, you got in a disagreement with the guy. He didn't follow the rules, this and that. Okay, man, it happens.
can I tell you a story that you're going to think is a tall tale?
Oh God, here we go.
So about like 4 or 5 years ago, I was getting into, I don't talk politics anymore on social media because
Yeah.
people are going to be the way that they are. I hate the far left. I hate the far right. But there was a time about 4 or 5 years ago when I made some comments on some sort of political thing online, and this one guy threatened me. He threatened me like bodily harm type of threaten. And I click on his profile pic, and he looks like law enforcement.
Oh God.
So he was going on and on and on about how he was going to F me up if I went through his town and blah 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 blah, and he just went on and on and on about it, and being a racist towards me and just all of that stuff. He was a complete asshole, and it was because he disagreed with me politically, right? Just became a big old asshole. And he goes, I know who you are and all that stuff. And because, whenever I go online, I use my real name. I don't have a burner account.
Yeah.
And he was going on there, and he, of course, the ones that are the biggest assholes are the ones who don't use a profile pic of themselves, are people who don't use their names or don't identify themselves. They're keyboard warriors, right? So he's like, I know who you are, blah, 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 blah. And apparently he's looking me up. Well, he thought that he was 100% secure. But what did I do back in the day? I was a journalist. So we have investigative skills.
Yeah.
So I took a look at his profile pic, and I saw the half the pattern on there, and I thought to myself, I gotta find this guy. So I click on him, and I eventually stumbled upon I was going through his photos, and one of the photos that he had there from like 6 or 7 years before was had a tag on there. So I clicked on the person who was tagged, and I found this woman's name. So I saw her name, it was tagged, I found it, and I found her page. Her page was private. But I started scrolling through the pictures, and then I found another name, and I tied the two and two together. They were husband and wife.
No.
I then went on the appraisal district's website, and I found their house address. And then I found out what she did for a living because I Google imaged her and I Google searched her. And by going through that, I found other things where she was talking about her husband and what police department he was at. So here's what I found out over the course of an hour. The guy's name, a photo of him, his wife's name, a photo of her,
Yeah.
the police department that he worked at, Selma, the what's it called? The real estate office that she worked at, the name of her boss, her office address, his office phone number, all of that stuff, his address, all that stuff. And I fucking detailed all of it. And I reached out to both of them. I instant messaged him and I said, by the way, I have emailed your wife this entire thing. I said, I emailed his wife saying, do you know your husband's been a complete asshole on social media and he's threatening people and saying that he can come after me, blah, 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 blah. I said, here's what I know about you guys. Brrr, all the stuff. I even knew the fucking make of their car. I knew their driver's license their license plates because I Google image their home address.
Oh God.
Dude, I went in so fucking deep, and I told her, I said, you go after your boy because I will go tell his boss that he's a police officer and that he's trying to like threaten people online because we disagree politically. I said he thought that he was 100% safe from being found out.
Yeah.
I said, I found this out in less than an hour. Good times.
Look at this. So Mike learned to stalk people from Yolanda. And then they put John C. investigative skills. You mean Google?
Well, it's beyond Google. I mean, it is following tagged photos and going into different people's profiles on Facebook and Instagram.
Like a hand over fist. He says, not surprised about Selma.
Mm-hmm. Selma, Texas, baby. Speed trap for a reason. But I mean, don't be wrong, 80% of it was Google, but it was finding out more and more stuff. I found her real estate page because he was a cop, and she probably still is a cop, and she was a realtor.
Yeah.
Good times.
Oh God. Oh man, that was a funny one. You see, Leia?
I'm careful, guys. Mike will sue for your jokes. No, I will sue for loss of business.
Oh, Mike struck the fear of God into those people. Bravo by Jonathan C.
Yeah.
All right.
Good times. Good times.
So
she responded back, by the way.
Did she?
Yeah. She said thank you for bringing it to her attention, and that she will have a long talk with him about it.
Mijo.
Because I mean, if I was a deranged person,
yeah,
I knew her cell phone number.
That's crazy, dude.
Because she's a realtor. She posts that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Crazy. Oh, the tall tale that I want to end with, by the way.
Yeah.
I posted I retweeted this video of a guy who apparently took 50 shots of tequila in a row. I have done 10 in a row over about a 2-minute period. I didn't do them like 1, 2, 3. I did 10 shots in about 2 minutes. And I ran a mile.
Oh, God.
And I didn't throw up. And I won $300 doing it.
Tall tales continue. I'm telling you, you should write your
22 years old, baby. I was 22 years old in Corpus Christi, Texas at the time. Corpus Christi, Texas, home of Selena Quintanilla.
The Tall Tales with Mike.
All right, brothers. It's been a good day. Let's end the show. It's 11:40. Hope everyone have a fantastic Monday. It's a holiday. What were we doing the show? It's a holiday, but it's time for me to go film, go tape Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia. Don't forget to follow him at Jeff G Spurs Zone on Twitter and on Threads. My name is Mike Jimenez. That is Joe Garcia. See you guys tomorrow.
Peace.